everyone, Susan Storm here, and today I'm going to begin my exploration of the characters from Attack on Titan, starting with the very controversial character of Eren Yeager. So he's my favorite character in Attack on Titan. He's so conflicted and so complex and so interesting that I definitely wanted to start with him. So we're going to get into his type. I'm going to give you some examples of how you see his type throughout the show, because his personality type, ESFP. This is a personality type you often see extremely stereotyped in the type community. When you look on forums, when you interact with people and ESFP comes up, the word that often comes to mind is performer or entertainer. Stereotypes of ESFPs make them seem kind of like bubbly, vapid party animals that just want to have a good time and don't really care about much else. They are often criticized for lacking depth. They're criticized for being overly impulsive and sometimes seen as these talkative goofballs, when really there's a whole lot more to ESFPs than that. There's a much edgier side to them and a much deeper side to them that often gets skipped over in the type community. And I think Eren Yeager is a great example of that. So first off, why do I think ESFP for him? First, let's take a look at the ESFP's dominant function. Extraverted sensing. This function is all about being in the present moment, able to react to whatever arises. It's about noticing the concrete details around you and wanting to act on them. There's this restless energy to extroverted sensing types. Their dominant perceiving process is called extroverted sensing. And that process is all about reacting and responding to the world around you, being in touch with the tangible, being in touch with your senses, being able to move in the physical world and almost become at one with it because you are so attentive and aware of it. So that's something we definitely notice very quickly about Eren Yeager. He is extremely reactive. He's extremely impulsive. SP types, especially ESPs, tend to live on impulse. He's very good in a fight. Maybe not so much when he's young. Mikasa definitely has the upper hand there when they're children, but as he grows and progresses, he's extremely skilled at responding and reacting to the world around him. He's also someone that lives in the moment. Rather than being like Armin, who's more of a long-term strategist, Eren Yeager is more impulsive and spontaneous, adapting to what's happening and reacting on the fly rather than following a long-term plan. In fact, he often rebels to big long-term plans, especially when he's young. And he very much gives in to the impulse of the moment, which is what SE is better at. Extroverted sensing types are masters of tactical intelligence. David Kiersey, who is a psychotherapist who wrote the book Please Understand Me, said of these SP tactical types, tactics is the art of making moves to better one's position in the here and now, whether those moves are dabbing oils on canvas, flying in rough weather, dishing off the basketball on a fast break, or skirmishing on the battlefield. So one thing you'll see with the sensing perceiver types in Attack on Titan, which are Eren Yeager, Levi Ackerman, is that they are really good at responding in the moment. They are really good at those big battles, at reacting on impulse. They're not the big strategists, but they are really good at those tactical experiences on the battlefield. Another thing we notice very quickly about Eren Yeager is that he combines introverted feeling with that extroverted sensing function. Introverted feeling is all about your inner convictions and staying aligned with your inner values and those things that are deeply important on a personal level. Introverted feeling is less concerned with harmony and everyone getting along. That would be more of the extroverted feeling function. It's more concerned with staying aligned with what you feel is personally right or wrong, being guided by that inner sense of conviction. Introverted feeling types care less about what society says is the right thing to do or will make everyone feel good, although they can be very conscientious people. Instead, they have this strong inner fire that guides them, this sense of right or wrong that pushes them. They're very propelled by their internal motivations, by their internal values, and often very strong inner emotions. And we absolutely see that with Eren Yeager. He combines this very impulsive, sensing, tactical side with his strong inner passion and conviction. He's so angry. He's just burning with righteous fury about the wrongs that have been done to him and his people. His type of feeling is not the warm, fuzzy feeling that you're going to find as much with FJ types, in contrast to Armin, who is very considerate and caring, always wants to hear people out. Eren is much more single-minded in pursuit of honoring his own personal feelings and combining that with this very impulsive power that guides him in all these split-second decisions. ESFPs are very good at connecting to the deeper inner core of humanity and the motivations of people. So introverted feeling for ESFPs, that's their caring function. Another word for that function besides auxiliary is it's the parent function. So ESFPs show they care by helping people to be their authentic selves, by helping people to stick up for themselves. And one great example of this in Attack on Titan is when Eren and Zeke are facing Ymir at the end. Now, I don't want to give too many spoilers away because maybe you haven't watched the whole series or maybe you're just thinking about watching it. But Ymir has been told by so many people what to do. She's been ordered around. She's been a slave. And Eren, in order to get through to her, speaks to her core individuality, what she really wants. He implies that she doesn't have to keep taking orders. She doesn't have to keep being a slave, that she can be free.
俺がこの世を終わらせてやる。俺に力を貸せ。エレン、お前は奴隷じゃない。神でもない。ただの人だ。誰にも従わなくていい。お前が決めていい。決めるのはお前だ。お前が選べ。
This is the amazing power of introverted feeling when it's in that auxiliary parent role. This is what you'll see with ESFPs and ENFPs, is that they use their introverted feeling to give other people permission to say no, to say what they want, to say what matters to them, to be their unique, individual, authentic selves. And this is just one example of that. Next, we'll look at Eren Yeager's extroverted thinking. He can lean into this more logical, logistical side if needed. He can be very decisive, very no nonsense when he's making decisions, when he's really leaning into that extroverted thinking. Now, much of Attack on Titan takes place in this extremely stressful world where death is lurking at every corner, where there's always crises and there's a lot of trauma going on. So throughout most of Attack on Titan, Eren Yeager is not operating in a really healthy headspace. In many situations, particularly towards the end of the series, he's coming from a place of being in the grip of stress, in what I would call an NI grip. So introverted intuition, or NI, is the inferior function of the ESFP. This is the function that Armin, I would say, is dominant in. It's really good at seeing ripple effects and consequences and predicting how best to do something to reach a desired result in the future. Introverted intuition is really good at reading between the lines and spotting patterns. For ESFPs, this is their inferior function. It tends to be something they aspire to use well, but often struggle with. They don't have a lot of confidence and security in that process. So instead of forecasting and predicting, they operate on the now. They give into their impulses. It seems like the best result now and what they could do physically in the real world in this moment. However, as stress increases, if that doesn't solve the problem, ESFPs can fall into this NI grip. And when that happens, they tend to have these grandiose visions, often very fearful visions of what they believe will happen in the future. They often have fantasies of impending disaster and doom. They're often overwhelmed by fear, anxiety, anger, and helplessness. Sometimes they have disturbing images that play through their mind, images of things that they think will happen or could happen someday. They become more withdrawn, less expressive, more hopeless, and they often feel overwhelmed by their own incompetence.
何にも変わってねえな、お前は。何にもできねえじゃねえかよ。
We see this many times throughout the series where Eren just feels like he is a complete and total failure and he's let everyone down. And as the series goes on and stress becomes more and more chronic, you see that expressiveness that he's so famous for die down and get replaced by this very withdrawn, hopeless, pessimistic outlook. So what can you learn about ESPs from Eren Yeager? One, they are not like the stereotypes. Yes, we aren't all living in paradise and having to face titans and threats to our lives on a regular basis. So not all ESFPs will seem like him. ESFPs have a lot more depth than we give them credit for. Eren is not a shallow person. His feelings run very deep. He is extremely protective of the people and values that matter to him. He's extremely passionate. ESFPs have very deep, powerful feelings, and they can put that passion behind causes that matter to them, behind people that matter to them, and they can be an unstoppable force for good if they choose to do that. They are also much more practical and resourceful than we give them credit for. In the type community, there's just those goofball entertainer stereotypes where it's just these are the people you want for a good time and nothing else. And that's really limiting to how passionate, how resourceful, how competent they can really be. Eren Yeager is not this goofball airhead. Absolutely not. He's tactically proficient. He's passionate and protective. He thinks about what matters to him, and he wants to be this person who can really save his island. Now, sometimes in the process, he makes really bad decisions and he does things impulsively that he later regrets. And obviously, there's a whole bunch of controversy about how his character unfolds. But I hope that understanding this personality type through the lens of this character can help you to understand that there's definitely a tougher edge to this type and a deeper quality to this type than most stereotypes would imply. Every ESFP I've known has been really relentless when it comes to protecting the causes that they care about. They're really tough when it comes to crisis situations and can respond in a really level-headed, practical way. They're realists. They're not idealists who live in fantasies of what the world should be. Instead, they work with what they've got right now and try to optimize situations to the best of their ability. And they're often very inspiring. They are those people who give you permission to give into your true feelings, to express your true self, to stand up for what you want, regardless of whether other people want something else or regardless of what society tells you need to be. They help promote and celebrate individuality, passion, and individual freedoms. Yes, Eren Yeager is definitely a complex character with both good and bad sides. He's an interesting study of the ESFP at their best and at their worst. I hope you've enjoyed this. I will be making a video next time. I think we'll get into Armin Arlert next time. So I hope you enjoyed it, and like and subscribe for more videos like this. If you are not sure of your personality type and you would like to set up a one-on-one Zoom session with me, I am available. I will leave a link in the description. I would love to help you explore your type and get closer to your best fit type. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye.